I'm Michael Reese.
And I'm Woods Davis.
And this is the Digital President Podcast.
We've cracked the code for generating customers online for every business model.
In fact, we wrote the book on it.
We've built multiple multi-million-dollar businesses in as little as 90 days. And the one truth that we discovered is
the best business model is doing what you love and living your life by strategy.
You truly can follow your passion and create the life of your dreams,
as long as you have the right strategy.
If you're a real estate agent and you'd like to learn how you can partner with us to help you implement our strategies and systems in your business so you can make a lot more money and have a lot more time freedom, all without ever paying us a penny or giving up a percentage of your commission, go to partnershipdetails.com and schedule a call with us today. While it's fresh in your mind, go to partnershipdetails.com. Now on to the podcast.
All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Digital President Podcast. This is going to be an amazing episode. We're going to be talking about one of the best medias, or should I say angles, really, maybe it's business model. I don't know. It's up for negotiation or up for discussion of what exactly this is. But what I can tell you is the outcome is this is the best methodology for helping people make a big decision. It's the number one thing I've learned over time. And in fact, my co-host today, Mr. Woods Davis, are you there?
Yes, sir. Ready to rock.
We've deployed this and actually, I would say, duplicated this model for doing all of those things, for building influence, for building our list, for getting customers. Everything we've done that's probably generated the best results has been built around this one concept. And today, we're going to talk about it. How you doing, brother? How's everything going in your world?
And everything's going good, bro. Just got back from a little vacation, ready to rock and roll back in the Hit Factory North, ready to rock.
It's funny, man. One of the things that I've always done in my life, especially when you say vacation, is, man, if you think about life by strategy, if vacation is living a life that you never want to take a vacation from, then really one of the questions is, and what aligns to today's topic is, what is the one thing that if I get this done makes everything else infinitely easier? And for us, over the years, that has been, ready, drum roll please, it's been live events. It's been doing live events. Let me set the stage here. We're going to talk about live events, but we're going to talk about not only doing them, we're going to talk about the things that we learned, why they're important, how we did them, what we did at them, what we learned from them, what mistakes we made, and most importantly, how we pivoted from live events to live events. and the truth is how we went from basically, if you go in marketing offline to online, how we went from doing live events, live in person in markets that had pros and cons, and we'll talk about those too, to live events online that we've really been doing probably even just as long. So, man, let's talk about this. One of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this topic, Woods, is because, listen, whenever it is that I'm picking a topic, I try to add value. And one of the things that I personally do is I say, what am I doing right now that's worked really well? What am I trying? What outcomes am I trying to achieve? And what things have I done in the past that's had the biggest impact on those outcomes? And again, this is really, I'm doing this for my own reasons, for my own goals. And one of the things that me and Woods have done well is, one is webinars, which are live webinars that we've automated over time. But I will say live has always done really, really well. You can always rely on a live webinar. And the other is live events, whether that's a live big event, a live boot camp, a live workshop, live events where people are sitting at their computer and you are delivering value to them. That is unbelievable. So that is an unbelievable experience. It's an easy way to, really impact somebody's belief system because, again, live events work for a couple different reasons. So one of the things that I think we can discuss is, for you, Wood, I have a lot to say, and I know you do too. So I'm going to throw the ball to you and say, in your experience, why do you think live events work so well?
I think live events work because, I mean, number one, you're spending time with somebody face to face and adding value to them in a one-on-one, or I guess it's not really a one-on-one, but just in a face-to-face environment. I mean, you're going to build such a relationship. I think it's one of the easiest ways to take people who may not know you, who may be kind of relatively a stranger to you, and get to know you, get to like you, get to trust you. And like you said, at the end of the day, influence them to help them make a decision, whether that's, to buy a product, to buy a service, or, for us, we partner with real estate agents. The cool thing about live events too, is I think, and this is the same thing with when we take them and do them online, is that it really is a machine. It's a process. It can be duplicated. I'm getting ready to speak at a live event in 2 days, which was literally.
And you know what, man? I don't know how to. You made a good point. In doing these podcasts, I want to have discussions. Maybe call me a fiend of Joe Rogan. I feel like when Joe Rogan hears the person he's having a discussion with, he chimes in. But I want to go back to your first point, because I have something to chime in regards to specifically. You said, what was the number one thing? You said, like you and trust you, right? And you said another word that actually made me kind of quiver. Like if I could have whispered in your ear, I would have said, Woods, don't say that. Because you said buy something. I think that is true. That is an outcome of a live event. But the real question is, and I think that's an important thing to not just skip over, right? You said people know, like, and trust you and buy something. And the next thing you know, we're 10 minutes over here and, and on the East Coast talking about, something else in regard. But that is an important point. Let me explain to you why I wanted to pause there. I want to give some input. First of all, people don't buy from people they don't believe in. They don't share a desire for. So the first mechanism of why live events work, Woods, is because people don't attend live events around topics that do not align with their desire. So first of all, an event, when you're attending an event, you're not going to attend an event on how to crochet if you don't want to crochet. You're not going to attend an event on how to make a knife out of metal if you don't want to make a knife out of metal. You're not going to attend an event about scrapbooking. So first of all, and a lot of the times events cost money, not all the time, but if they do, you could be talking to a room of buyers, which is different than a room of looky-loos. So it's not that people buy things. People don't buy things based upon, they just buy them. There's psychology behind why people buy. First of all, you have early adopters, and I want you to remember those people are going to buy whether you do a live event or not. If you can communicate the outcome, they're going to say, well, hell, let's try it, especially if it solves a problem, if it removes a rock in their shoe. But other people need influence. They need to be persuaded. And a part of influence and persuasion is them getting to know you. So there's a lot of things that you can do in a live event, like tell your story. See, when somebody is sitting in a room and they're in a chair, first of all, environment is stronger than will, and you can never make somebody change a belief. So if they don't believe you, you can't change it, but you can suspend a belief long enough for somebody to make a different decision. That's why live events, that's why the outcome of people buying things, that's why they say there are breakthroughs that happen, because people make decisions that they would never make if they were by themselves in their current situation, with their current environment, with their current mental models and frameworks. It's when you get persuaded to take action. Buying something, listen, is not a bad thing. Buying water if you're in the desert isn't a bad thing. Me buying a tool that changed my life, where I put $1 in and got $7 out, was not a bad thing, right? But relying on my own ability to make that decision without more information, and being able to surf through all of the content information out there on the web, and to find the time to sit down and do it. At a live event, you've separated yourself from your normal environment. You've made a decision that you're going to already take action. So you've driven to the gym. You've gotten on a plane and you went to the event. You now have put yourself in a position that says, I'm committed. I'm committed to try to get what it is that I'm trying to get, to learn what it is that I'm trying to learn, to grow the way that I'm trying to go. So yes, people buy things at live events. There's no doubt about it. Mm-hmm. But the real question is why do people buy things? And here's the thing is I will tell you this, and guys, I promise you this is not a joke. One day I listed I believe I was with Jay, or I was recently with Jay, but or I was with you, Woods. I don't remember, but I listed the biggest decisions in my life that had the impact, the cause and effect. So an example would be ISA, okay? Right in the beginning of my real estate business, I hired an ISA. So I wrote that down, hired an ISA. Now, if you really look at, okay, why did you hire an ISA? It's because I gained awareness about an ISA. Where did I gain awareness? I remember where I was sitting. I was sitting in the breezeway, right in between a bar and a pool with a fireplace, where I heard 3 guys that had been on stage talk to a group that surrounded them by the bar. And one of the people said, hey, tell me more about this ISA. And this guy just goes into the ISA. And I'm just listening. I kind of stand up and move over. And as a result, my dad asked me, who actually helped me go to that event. My dad let me use his credit card because I didn't own a credit card. He said, how did the event go? And I told him. He said, so what are your takeaways? And I told him. And my dad, 60 days later, after me telling him that one of my takeaways was this ISA, my dad said, hey, I met a kid up here at UNT, University of North Texas. His name is Alex Gibson. And the guy sounds like he should be on a radio station. I think he'd make a good ISA. Are you still looking for one? And that kid, that single decision changed the entire trajectory. It had the biggest impact on taking my business to the next level. Now, if I would have been set at 9 James Circle in my cul-de-sac with my 3 roommates, I could have been easily talked. I didn't play a lot, but there were times I remember only on 9 James Circle. This was about a 12-month period. But there were times that I would either sit in the hot tub. They would want to play Tiger Woods golf on whatever the machine that we used at the time. I don't remember. This was years ago. But the point is there were so many distractions. And so, yeah, people buy things, but people have intention. See, when people go to events, they have intention, they have a desire, and they've taken a next step into the process. And so as a recipient of events, I can tell you that when I went through the top 10 things, Woods, that had an impact on my life, top 10, I'm talking about consciousness. I'm talking about Eckhart Tolle. I'm talking about direct response marketing. Like even knowing what those concepts were, just even being introduced to them and having awareness to even know to ask questions and seek more information, all of that was introduced to me by getting on a plane, getting out of my current environment, getting around people that had the results that I was trying to achieve, which, again, there's a country song out there that says you're always 17 in your hometown, right? People always remember the 7. You could be 30 and they always remember what you were doing at 17. That's who you are. You built your brand. That's who you were. You don't outrun those mistakes. You know, you were the guy that, you know, rolled his car over on Country 22 Road, or, you know, they remember all the bad things that you did and the girls that you dated and the mistakes that you made. You know, that's what happens in your hometown, in your local market, is you have this set of communities and micro communities and relationships and behaviors, and you have to break that pattern in order to have a breakthrough. And that's why big decisions and breakthroughs happen at those live events, which are usually the result of somebody making an investment in themselves, which that is what buying something is when you care more about growing than the money in your hand, knowing that the best investment you can ever make is in yourself.
I think one of the reason why it works so well on both ends, for people who are doing events, it's helpful to get people to their desired outcome. And then it's good for people who are attending events, is because you're both making an investment. I mean, it's an investment to do events. It's an investment of time, energy, and effort to get out there and and put it on the line and organize an event, put the marketing in place to make sure that you can put butts in seats. But, for us, it's been one of the best investments that we've ever made. And certainly I've been in the same situation on the receiving end. Every time, I think about every time we've made decisions to go to the event versus not go to the event. There's been good things that always happen coming from events for sure.
Well, yeah, and you just said it. Here's the thing. We'll take this from for my perspective is that let's talk about the person hosting the event, and I want to make one advocate. I want to advocate one thing. Some of the best people at events that I know of started with speaking at other people's events, right? And just so you know, there are low cost, no cost, shoestring budget things that you can do in order to get started. There are things that make events extremely profitable, or they can be extremely costly, just like anything that it is that you do, right? And so there are right ways and wrong ways. But I will say this, as a person who is a presenter, there's nothing that you should want more than a starving audience. And somebody who, it's almost like a movie starting, right? In my neighborhood the other day, they put on this event for kids. And it was a movie. And all of the kids, once the lights went down, these kids ran to their little spots, their picnic areas that their parents had set up for them. They were playing football. They were everywhere. The lights dimmed, and it was almost like it's time to start. And these kids didn't say a word. They were just eating popcorn. It was memorizing that they went from to totally focused. And so that's the thing, is that you get focus, you get the audience's attention, and attention isn't free. There's not a better way. Now you can put a video out that has a good, great content, but to get that attention from somebody is very hard. And so the main thing is you have their attention. And once you have their attention, now you can craft. See, in an event, when you have their attention, you can craft the presentation that has entertainment, has engagement, has education. So it's a way for you to keep their attention and also communicate to them and either suspend beliefs, address skepticism, build a relationship, create a bond by adding value, by articulating your stories of likeness and affinity for somebody. They were talking about, Bernie Madoff, the guy who cracked Bernie Madoff. And they said the reason why, they called it, there was a word for it. And basically what it talked about was that Bernie Madoff never ripped off anybody in the beginning and towards the end that were major Wall Street players, right? They said, because they asked the guy, how long did it take you to know that Bernie Madoff, this guy had written letters to the Security Exchange Commission like 9 times over 7 years, right? And they just ignored them. One time opened an investigation and then shut it down. And the point that I'm making is he said, well, how did he get away with it? And they said, because he started within his own community. Meaning, if you're Jewish, you start helping, invest money for a Jewish group of maybe associations or a community within that community where you have likeness, right? And by doing that, there's a certain increased level of trust, right? And so in these books, one of the best books is Robert Cialdini, and it's How to Master Influence. And it talks about affinity and reciprocity and all of the things that are in this book. You can actually, to some degree, organize, meaning you can actually build. You hear the term influencer. Influencer, I had a guy yesterday, and I'm not saying this, I'm just telling you the truth. I'll ask the guy if I can plug the clip. And if he says yes, I'll have our editors plug it right here. But this guy says, Mike, you're like a celebrity to me. I've been and this happens a lot of the times. The guy's like, hey, you're a celebrity to me. I saw you speak when you were in California. I've seen Jay speak when he's come through California. Ever since then, I've watched all of your content. He said, I had no idea you were going to be on this call, but you're like, literally, I feel like I'm speaking to a celebrity. Guys, listen, that's the power of live events. That's the power of delivering a powerful presentation. That's the power of attracting an audience, getting attention, and that's what's done. And so what happens with two people, and Woods, you know this, with two agents that I was helping yesterday that we decided to partner with, is both of these individuals said the same thing. They didn't know each other. They were separate calls, but both of them said, listen, Mike, I already know that you and Woods and Jay and Al, I already know that you can help me. So you don't have to, I've been following you guys for a long time. I've been to I've been to Expert Advisor Boot Camp. I've been to Exponential Growth Summit. I've been to your ISA boot camp. They say I've been to this thing, right? And so the question becomes, for agents, how do you leverage live events? Like, how do you leverage a live event? And, what things are best practices and what things do you need to be aware of? And so I'm going to start with one best practice, and then I'm going to kick it over to you, Woods. I think the number one thing you can do if you do live events is you're going to have to make a decision whether they're going to be free or if they're going to cost the attendee money. And regardless of what that is you need to leverage host-beneficiary relationships and a self-liquidating offer.
Yeah, 100%. That's so. Just because you do a free event doesn't mean that it still can't be free. And when you say host beneficiary relationships, I think that almost every event that we've ever done has had some type of sponsor. There's people that benefit from getting in front of the same audience that you're going to organize into a place. So reaching out to vendors, especially, for us, if we were doing a event in a local market, then there's going to be things like title companies, lenders. There's going to be people that are going to want to sponsor that event, get in front of that audience because you're going to be adding value and they want to be able to associate with that and leverage that to build relationships too. So definitely that. The other thing, like we mentioned,
can I give one example that's off the record that I, just to punctuate that point, Woods, is, and this is totally crazy, but imagine if there were hearing aids, okay? And these one type of hearing aids actually were able to Bluetooth in with TVs, right? And it basically, imagine if there was the ability to turn up or turn down the TV from your hearing aid without having the TV blast and to the other people in the room so that they could hear it at a sensible level. Now imagine that you're a doctor that prescribes these hearing aids. You sell these hearing aids and you're doing an event for all of the people who bought your hearing aids. And you can either do an event for the person who has the hearing aids. You can do the event for the people that have hearing problems. But let me explain to you this. If I'm the owner of the TV that syncs with those hearing aids, I'm sponsoring that event. Period. Why would I not? I'm going to have a room full of my ideal customer. And it would be foolish. It would be irresponsible. It would be a disservice. It would be the opposite of preeminence for me not to, as a person making this investment, as the doctor presenting this solution to hearing aids, presenting how to better use your hearing aids, maybe in an orientation, an online class, whatever it is. It would be, both as the doctor, I should want to add value by telling you all of the top 10 things you could do with your hearing aids. And I should want you to get the value out of the investment. And I should be willing not only to allow the TV company to present to you those benefits, especially if it's a problem and the product is a good product and solution. Again, people would know, most people won't ASK so they don't GET. They have the wrong theory. Listen, you put a room full of our ideal customers, Woods. If we wrote our ideal customer right now, right? Whatever it is, I'm talking about the perfect ideal customer. And someone put 1,000 of them in the room and they said, Mike and Woods, you can speak to them for 1 hour. What is that truly worth to us? Truly.
Oh, it's in front of
A
1,000
range.
people.
Just give me a
It's
range.
probably worth $100,000. If
I
not
was going
more.
to say 100,000 minimum, right? Potentially a million,
Yeah.
potentially a million, depending on what. Now, if you take the lifetime value of our big ticket offer, what's it worth?
It's definitely probably worth closer to $1 million.
It's worth a lot of money,
Yeah.
right? And so I just wanted to punctuate that point, Woods,
But
for people.
the big point here too is that there's unit economics. And when you think about an event, there's going to be the marketing side, which is going to be like, what does it cost to get a butt into the seat? Then there's the event logistics of what does it cost to actually put people in a room, to feed them if you're going to feed them, have all the AV, if there's speakers or any other things that you need to accommodate, any other expenses. So there's the expense side of things to just get everything done. But then there's the economic engine behind it that's going to produce profit or is going to produce revenue, whether that's through vendors is a source of revenue. Through what you mentioned as a liquidator offer is a source of revenue. A liquidator offer is simply an offer that aligns to maybe the content that you're going to be presenting. Maybe if you're talking about helping somebody with social media, there's a social media tool that they can use that you can help sell or give them as an offer. Maybe it's a tool that you use as well, and you just basically allow them to take advantage of that same offer. And guys, here's one of the most important things. Some people think, well, I don't have a product to sell. I don't have a liquidator offer.
The main thing there, Woods, and I think you brought up a great point, is the number one reason why people don't have host beneficiary relationships is, you know why?
Why?
They don't have an offer for their host beneficiary.
Yeah.
You see, it's you got to look at the see, that's just an offer. And see, the highest leverage activity that you can do is work on the offer. And the first offer you work on is the offer for the vendors. I've literally been I was in charge of business development. I've had people pay $20,000, $50,000, $200,000, $400,000 to sponsor one of my events. And I learned if you don't ASK, you don't GET. And listen, those people that sponsored my events will tell you that it was well worth it. They will say the investment was well worth it. And so the thing is, remember, what is the constraint? Why do people not optimize and maximize? Or if you're already doing events, how could you optimize and maximize your current events? Or if you're going to do an event, how can you win before you start? And that is crafting an offer. So an example, and you made me think of this, Woods, when you were giving those scenarios, is one of the offers is when your host partners with you, what do they get? Do they get a booth? Do they get an email? Do you do a video with them prior to the attendees coming that is with you interviewing them, so there is an awareness and interest and third-party validation based upon their value proposition and brand promise, so people have and know who they are? Is there a dinner? Is this a high ticket? Are you surveying or segmenting your attendees and taking out the biggest earners and putting 10 of them in the room for a private lunch invitation only? And as a result, you're selling that to that individual to present during lunch. Are you allowing them to email the attendees, or are you sending an email to the attendees on their behalf, right, after the event? Like, creating the offer for the host. And that's the limiting step. Once you create that offer, all you have to do is make the offer to the people that have the same customer, right? And if you do just that, you will realize that events are a system, and they're a system and a process. And here's the biggest thing. They are a influence builder, an authority builder, a time collapser, right? It makes everything else happen faster. And so, the problem is that to do a good event, you have to have a great presentation. And once you have a great presentation, you would be a fool to not give that presentation. If it worked in a live event face-to-face, then it would just only make sense to do it online. Now you can present to people in Alaska, Portland, Poland, Canada, Ontario, Waterloo, all over the world. And so nailing your event gives you also, the live event, Woods, gives you that feedback loop from the customer. You can see their faces. You can see their engagement. You can hear when they laugh. You can see when they start looking at their phones. So it lets you nail that webinar because it gives you that iteration that you can do to nail that presentation.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the live feedback that you're going to get in a live face-to-face environment is invaluable. I mean, it's so important to be able to iterate on a presentation. There's been so many times where we would finish an event and literally right afterwards, and this is for everybody who's doing event, if you're not meeting immediately after the event and doing a post-event just kind of summary while it's fresh in your mind, okay, where were you losing the audience's attention? Where were they? What was really resonating with them? We would literally take away slides from a presentation, add slides to a presentation, always trying different things at an event. So it gives you the ability to iterate.
Yeah, listening to questions of the audience,
right?
Surveying them.
So the event gives you that real-time feedback that is going to be a lot harder to do online. You can still do the same things online, but it's so much easier to do in a face-to-face environment. And I think that's why it works so well. And so, the cool thing about the event, like you said, is that once you create the system around it, you can literally go anywhere and do the event. It can literally travel with you. And so going back to life by strategy, imagine every time you go on a vacation, you just do an event. The last time I went to Naples, Florida, but I was just in Naples, Florida. The time before that, I was literally down there. I did an event. It was just kind of last minute. I'm like, well, I'm going down here. I might as well do an event while I'm here. I literally, shot videos of myself on a boat and did some different things to promote the event, filled a room with the event, and ended up partnering with a couple of agents from that event. So I'm so grateful that we were able to have that system. And when you have this presentation built, when you have a system around organizing an event, it's going to motivate you to want to do them because you know that you can always yield a result and you add so much value to people in the process. I think all the relationships that we've built over the years from being in live events, being face-to-face with people, I mean, it's really hard to quantify the value of that. And that will continue to play out over time because just like you said earlier, what were you talking about? You said the person that we ended up partnering with, they had attended an event, saw you speak, been watching all the videos, right? So there's hundreds or thousands of other people just like that person who started out at an event. They got on the list. They've been consuming content over time. And over time, those people will come around and either become a client, or become a partner, whatever your goal is. It's just a great way to introduce people to you, introduce people to your brand.
Now, here's what I want to end with, Woods, is that, guys, listen, one of the things that we are doing is we're doing an event. And one of the things, and I'm going to do this in real time. And remember when I opened up, I made this the topic because I wanted to align. I wanted to vector. And so, over the years, I think we launched, when we wrote The Digital President, we were going to do this big event out in Malibu, where we were going to help people who wanted to write a book, build a product. The most important thing is nailing down your core content, which if you haven't read The Digital President, you should go check it out. Michael Reese team.com/book, I think is the URL. I think they can get it there, Woods, or there's a link in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. But the reason why I want to point this out is that, when it comes to doing events, we have an event. I'll put a link in the description. So if you're watching this in a week or so, you can go check it out. I'll post a link at digitalpresident.com/event. How about that, Woods? And anyway, we're in the process of organizing our own event. And again, I like to do content and share. A lot of the times I feel like when me and Woods are having discussions in real time, the discussion or a debate or there's more value in seeing how we think based upon our experiences and how we come to conclusions. And one of the things that we're doing is we're going to be doing an event in Puerto Rico. And we were going to obviously do one when I moved here. We had been doing events in Dallas, so that's been natural. But this event's going to be a little bit special because I want to know if you've watched this video and you would be interested in coming to an event. I would like to know one thing. Would you be interested in coming to an event? Our event would be for the ideal person who wants to get more customers online by leveraging events, whether that's honestly straight up getting listings or that's building your brokerage, agent attraction, like literally hosting live events. Remember, our events, we went on tours, so we could go anywhere. You could throw a dart. We could fly to Canada, but we learned how to do it profitably and how to, here's the most important, fill the room, right? You got to be able to fill the room. If you can't fill the room, obviously an event, if you can't get people to attend, then an event's not going to be as valuable. So one of the topics that we're going to be talking about at our event is really around the things that we're doing now, how to successfully do a webinar, how to successfully do an event, how to leverage a presentation for a webinar and for a live event, how to leverage the live event, and turn it into a hard asset to build your audience that, continues to be turned into content, what we call as the content multiplier, how to leverage a content hub, all those things. If you're interested, then please comment on this because I'm going to be watching, Woods is going to be watching. Yes, I would like to learn more about your event. If you put that in the comments, I'll send you a message. We'll put a link up with more of the details. I'm actually going to the venue this week, and we're really excited about this. Probably have been, I don't know, maybe 4 years in the making, Woods, where we're doing our first digital president, I would say multiple day event. What I mean by that is we've done small 1-2 hours, but this is more of a total immersion execution. So if you'd be interested, make sure you do that. There's a lot that we could cover. When we talked about doing this topic, I was like, man, we could go for 2 hours just on presentation.
Yeah. We
could go 2 hours on the types of events, different structures, different offers, types of offers, all of the different things. We'll save that for our event to get into that detail. Hopefully this has made you aware of another way that you could grow your business. Remember, growing your business is about making more offers into the marketplace. It's a contact sport. The more people you contact, the more people that you make an offer to, not just any offer though, it's a differentiated offer because 50% of your success is for you to make an offer to somebody that is compelling. And if you want to make more compelling offers, if you want to be able to do that in your real estate business, then make sure you go check out Listing Class, listingclass.com. We talk about the best offers working right now, and you should definitely go check it out. Woods, as always, thank you so much for jumping on. If you have any final words, I'm going to throw it to you.
Man, I'll just say this, we get text messages and notifications whenever appointments get scheduled, whenever people reach out to us, wanting to partner with us. And we got a good amount of text messages yesterday, and all of that machine, the entire machine that we built, man, I was literally just thinking about this while you were talking. Our entire machine that we built was built from the foundation of these live events. So I know how critical it is to nail this down. If you use this, it can really be a springboard to build a machine that just runs. And man, I'm grateful for all the time, energy, and effort that you've put in over the years, that we've put in together, cracking the codes on this stuff. And it's always fun to talk about it and help other people gain some awareness of what they can do when it comes to, leveraging live events in their market and beyond.
Absolutely, man. Well, I appreciate it. And I know live events were the key to unlocking life by strategy. Without live events, we wouldn't be able to live our lives by strategy. They were definitely the kernel of the strategy, and the best life to live
is the life by strategy.